This session, as you know, has been titled Peace Demands Tolerance. So we can come up with some form of a resolution. We don't have to cover everything, but at least get the basics in place so that we can communicate to our youth world, especially in Ghana, that we want peace and that these are some of the factors. As you know, our panelists from the far, in fact, it's better to do it the way I did it before, which is to pass. I'll introduce Professor A.C. Sutherland, and then I'll leave the other two. I did that the last time, so I figured I should continue this week. Professor A.C. Sutherland, I call her a cultural activist, and I think that should say it all, because she's across the board negotiating for children, negotiating for the way our lives should be better as far as culture is concerned. But primarily, she's also a lecturer, and so that, I think, satisfies our requirements. And she's not a politician, so she's going to give us a very good perspective on how to deal with these things. Not that politicians are bad, it's just that she's not a politician. So this is Professor Sutherland. A round of applause would be nice.
Whatever I share with you today is not academic, it's my observations of things and what I reckon we must put the focus on if we are.
Thank you all for being here. I would like to say that they started this whole this event with a concert at the University of Legon, and those of you who didn't attend that concert, you just don't know what you missed. So if anything like this is happening next year, I really hope that you come to the concert. It was a wonderful show. So what am I going to say about tolerance? I was asked to speak from the cultural perspective, but I think there's no such thing as only cultural perspective, because anything cultural is what we are, how we live our lives, how we portray ourselves. So I'm just going to talk generally. A wise person once said that the test of tolerance comes when we are in the majority. Yes, because when we're part of the majority, it takes a lot of tolerance to respect, to accept, and to appreciate different viewpoints of others. It takes tolerance to listen to the minority and to give them space to express themselves. And we have to exercise a lot of objectivity and fairness when letting them have their say. But then, of course, tolerance should always go both ways. The minority should understand that the majority doesn't necessarily always agree with them. Now, what is tolerance about? I would say tolerance is about harmony in difference. It is an asset that makes peace possible. It promotes the culture of peace and discourages the culture of war. Only tolerance can ensure the survival of mixed communities in every part of our globe. When we are tolerant, we are able to live and let others live. We are able to adhere to our own convictions while accepting that others adhere to theirs, without imposing our views on them. We are able to enjoy our rights and our freedoms without infringing on those of others. Tolerance has always been considered a moral virtue because it means recognizing the fact that human beings are naturally diverse in their appearance, in their situation, in their speech, behavior, values, and they have the right to live in peace and to be just as they are. They don't have to change for anyone. And all this calls for respect, for acceptance, appreciation of the rich diversity of our world's culture, of our variety of expressions, and simply of ways of being human. On the 16th of December, 1995, the day of the 50th anniversary of UNESCO's founding, the organization's member states adopted a declaration of principles on tolerance. The declaration affirms that tolerance is neither indulgence nor indifference. It does not mean arrogance or superiority. It does not mean toleration of social injustice or the abandonment or weakening of one's own convictions. The practice of tolerance is an active attitude that recognizes the universal human rights and fundamental freedoms of others. Ever since that day, the 16th of November, we have always been celebrating annually this day as the International Day for Tolerance. So the International Day is coming up on the 16th of November. Now, why is tolerance so important? It is important because it is so essential for harmony, starting from your own small, close family unit. Harmony is important at local level, at national level, at regional level, and certainly at international levels. Tolerance allows individuals, communities, and nations accept and respect the multicultural character and respect the multicultural character of the human family. Without tolerance, there can be no peace. Without peace, no development, and certainly no democracy. The promotion of tolerance involves the shaping of attitudes of openness, of mutual listening, and solidarity. This should start at home. It should be part of our training at home and at an early age. It should take place in schools, in colleges, in universities, at the workplace, and in other areas of non-formal education. Tolerance has to be nurtured by knowledge, by openness, by communication, by freedom of thought, freedom of conscience, and freedom of belief. It is not only a moral duty to be tolerant, it is also a political and legal requirement. So how do we fight for tolerance, or how do we fight against intolerance? Fighting intolerance requires law, it requires education, access to information, individual awareness, and locally inspired solutions. Each government is responsible for enforcing human rights laws.